Good morning. So I will be recording a lecture on heat exchanger network design. So this lecture has three parts. First part, we are going to cover the composite curve using pinch technology approach to maximize the heat recovery. And we will learn what are the three golden rules to determine hot and cold environments and the pinch temperature. Second part of the lecture, we will learn the problem table algorithm to design heat exchanger network and determine the minimum number of units. The last about the heat exchanger network. So moving on to the first part of the lecture. So what is pinch technology? So pinch technology is introduced by Linhoff and Redwell, which guarantees the minimum energy levels in our process design for heat exchanger network. If you remember your thermodynamic principles, the onion diagram by Smith, we have to design any process, we follow this thermodynamic principles. So first we need to design the reactor and then the separation and recycle system. Then we perform the entire mass and energy balance of a process or the entire plant layout. Then we move ahead to energy recovery system within the hot and the cold streams, and we determine what is the heating and cooling requirements. Once we're done with, then we move on to the last ring, which is known as water and effluent treatment. So what is industry challenged about energy consumption and recovery? If you look into the more conventional industries, they don't use pinch technology. So they have a higher load on hot and cold utility requirements. So due to and where we want to recover the energy and save the energy requirements, save the energy in terms of the cost, improve the performance of our process, most of them are moving towards optimizing the process, especially in terms of the energy requirements. So the concept of pinch technology starts with setting up the energy target. So as a designer, we need to set the energy target for our plant or the process before we design the heat exchanger network manually. So we need to set our target. Then heat recovery and utility constraints are utilized in design of the core processes. So it can be your hot utility or the cold utility requirements, which are your low pressure steam, your high pressure steam, or cold utility can be your cold water, it can be refrigerant or any other way that you want to cool the process streams. So energy target is also known as the minimum energy consumption. It's minimal quantity of energy that the process would need from the external sources. And the cold utilities are your external sources. So we want to set energy target for those. So our aim is we utilize minimum energy from the external sources. So the entire process is also known as the process integration because we are integrating the various processes in our plant for energy recovery, also known as the heat integration, or also known as energy integration, or simply pinch technology. So now how do we exchange the heat? Change the heat is hot process streams and the cold process streams. So the hot process streams are used to heat up the colder streams. A reasonable temperature driving force must be maintained. So that is our delta T. So we need to have a certain delta T minimum for our heat exchanger, so that when we design the heat exchanger, we have a practical size. Because the area of the heat exchanger is also very important, that has a lot of space requirement in your plan. So make sure that you have minimum delta T used as a driving force for the heat transfer. So now how do we exchange the heat? The one example would be the hot process stream having leaving the reactor or the distillation column to preheat the feed, because we know in most of our processes we generally have a pre-treatment process before we feed in the stream to the reactor of a separation unit. So that pre-treatment can be done using the hot stream that are leaving the reactor or distillation columns. So if we look at these two diagrams, we see that when we apply the pinch technology, it reduces the complexity of our flowchart. It means the process becomes less complicated. We are minimizing the number of heat exchangers used here. So we don't have to use a cooler for every stream. Needs energy requirement. So we can use the process stream to exchange the heat between them so that we can minimize the heat exchangers. So the first stage in pinch analysis would be data extraction. So first you need to come up with your process flow diagram, perform mass and energy balances. So at this stage, you know the heat capacities, the mass flow rates, and the delta H for your each stream. So you have to represent all this data in an extracted flow sheet as shown on the right side. So once you have this flow sheet, the values, so tabulate all the values of hot stream and cold stream. So for example here, the hot stream coming from this R2 or reactor is 180 degrees Celsius and the target temperature is 80. It means this is our initial temperature and this is our final temperature. So to reduce the temperature, we are using a cooler. And the heat capacity flow rate for this is 20. So we write down all this information in a table form. So hot streams are those which are being cooled and cold streams are those which are being heated up. So once you tabulate all your temperatures for hot and cold streams, calculate your enthalpy or the heat load. That is delta T multiplied by the 180 minus 60 times 3. You get 360. So you calculate similarly for all your process streams. So we need to remember that the hot streams are streams to be cooled. So the hot streams is your source of heat. Similarly, the cold streams are those that are being heated up and those are the heat sink. So the supply temperature is also known as initial temperature, or the target temperature also we call it as our temperature that we want to achieve before the process unit. So how to calculate your heat capacity flow rate? So your heat capacity flow rate is mass flow rate multiplied by the heat capacity of the fluid. Then we draw these streams diagrammatically as shown here. Your first stream is hot stream, which is being cooled. So I'm using a blue color to signify it's being cooled. So 180 to 60, and we just write down the CP value. So now we are going to exchange the heat between the hot and the cold streams. And once we do that, we can have the best arrangement of heat exchanger network. So to achieve the heat exchanger network, we generally have two different approaches. The first method is the composite curve. So in the composite curve, we plot a graph of temperature versus enthalpy. And we have one curve for hot stream, another curve for cold stream. We call them as hot composite curve and cold composite curve. And when we join them together to represent the total networking into our process. So the general processes, we first plot the process lines for hot stream and the cold stream. Then once we do that, we connect those overlapping curves and draw a continuous composite curve. And that continuous composite curve will have the CP value of the two curves that you are joining. I'll just show you here in an example. Your hot stream is from 180 to 60. So 180 to 60 towards downward direction because the temperature is being reduced. And this, how do you arrange this line and the slope? You need to refer back to your enthalpy. The enthalpy is 360. So make sure the difference between this and this is 360. So it can be anywhere within your graph. Then the second stream, hot stream, is 150 to 30. So draw a line from 150 to 30 degrees. Make sure that the difference between these two is 120. So why I draw the stream 2 first and stream 1 later on? Because the stream 1 temperature is higher, the supply temperature is 180. So it's easy for us when we want to make it a continuous line. So now look at this. This area is the common overlapping area. So I need to connect these two. So what I will do is I will draw a line from this point until this point. It's something like an average line between the overlapping area. And then I just remove the other part and then I draw a continuous composite curve. So this part, then the pink line, and then followed by this. It means this amount of heat can be exchanged between the, it's common between the two hot streams. Value of 3 plus 1. So 3 plus 1 will be 4. Similarly, we repeat the same thing for cold streams. So we draw a line for cold streams, arrow facing upward because cold streams are being heated up. We draw the two lines and then the common area between the two. We join them using a continuous line from here until here. We draw one continuous and then we get this composite curve. Now bring this both together into one graph. So the red line is your hot composite curve and the green line is your cold composite curve. Now when you design a heat exchanger network, we need to decide what should be the minimum delta T. So this is our assumption. For our process, the minimum delta T, I want 10 degrees Celsius. So you need to adjust your lines or the curves in such a way that at any point between the two curves, the delta T is 10 degrees Celsius. So I'm shifting these, the cold composite curve or the hot composite curve toward one another such that at any point the difference is 10 degrees Celsius. You cannot move the lines vertically because when you move them vertically, the temperatures will change. So you have to move them horizontally such that the delta H remains the same and the temperatures remain the same. All right. So once you do that and you obtain this, this is your pinch temperature. So the top, so this is your delta T minimum that you achieve. So 90 degrees is your hot pinch temperature and 80 degrees is your cold pinch temperature. The one shaded in between with the yellow color is the amount of heat the both stream can exchange with one another. So apart from what the stream can exchange the heat, if you still need additional heating and cooling, then that is provided hot utility or external cold utility. So how to find that the difference between this point and this point? What is the difference between this and this is your Q hot minimum requirement. Difference between this line and this line is minimum cold utility requirement. So once you exchange the heat between the process stream, if you still need additional heating cooling requirement, then only you use the external source. So now you can imagine the one with the shaded, if you're exchanging process stream, that amount of energy, the cost is saved in your process. All right, so this is again the representation of the composite curve. But if you want to change the minimum temperature difference, then you can just shift the curves accordingly to maintain your new temperature difference. But remember, higher the delta T minimum, higher will be your utility requirements, because these curves will move from one another. When you have higher delta T, then here also they move far, and then your hot utility, the difference will also similarly for your cold utility requirement. So once the pinch has been identified, it is possible to consider the process as two separate systems. One is above the pinch, one is below the pinch. The system above the pinch requires a heat input because we are giving additional heat input from, so it's a net heat, and here it's a rejects the heat, so it's a net heat source. So we need to remember the three golden rules. You cannot transfer the energy from above the pinch to below the pinch. Suppose alpha amount of energy is transferred from above the pinch to below the pinch. So what will happen? Because you're doing an energy balance, and here is everything is balanced. If some amount of heat flows from here to here, then there is a shortage. Then you need to satisfy that heat or energy requirement. You need to add additional alpha amount of energy to your utility requirement. And gains excess heat, then our cooling duty will also increase by the same alpha amount. So second scenario would be gamma amount of external cooling above the pinch. If you cool externally your heat exchangers, it means they are losing the heat. So the net, again, your energy balance equation will be not balanced. So you need to add that amount of energy to your external heating, and similarly that amount will be deficit. So you need to add it for your cold utility requirement. Similarly, if you do external heating for the below the pinch, you have a again increase in your. So what are our three golden rules? Heat must not be transferred across the pinch. So once you know your pinch point, you cannot transfer energy from hot pinch area to the low pinch area. Second rule, there must be no external cooling above the pinch. And the third rule is no external heating below the pinch. So you need to remember this in your design. So we will do one example here. The same data. So now we need to draw the composite curve and determine the hot and cold utility requirements and the pinch temperature. So follow the same method. Draw your composite curve for hot utility and cold utility. Look at the overlapping area and look at the common area and draw the line, and then you get an average line like this. Similarly, you repeat for the next case. So you have hot composite and cold composite curve. You move or shift the curves in such a way that delta T minimum is attained. So this is the amount of heat that you can recover from your process stream, and these are the additional utility requirements. So next, coming to the problem table method. The composite curve methods are time consuming. Thus, we have to use a method to solve this, because it takes a lot of time to plot this graph, adjust the curve, and measure with the scale to have a minimum delta T requirement. So we have to use a alternative numerical method. But now how to decide the delta T minimum values? So this is really a guesswork, because there is no rule of thumb that you have to use 10 degrees or 15 degrees. It comes by experience. So you need to set a minimum value first, and then you need to see if you can get a pinch point. If not, you change the temperature, work it out repeatedly. But due to the experience, some of the authors have, when they have done the trial and error, they have come up with some delta T minimum values from the experiences. So for oil refining processes, generally they use from 20 to 40, petrochemical 10 to 20, chemical processes 10 to 20, and very low temperature processes at 3 to 5 degrees. We can start with, because the capstone project we are working on is not low temperature processes, so you can start with 10 degrees or 15 degrees or 20. Okay, but at the end you need to see your utility requirements are smaller, your area is not very big for your heat exchanger. So next, coming to the grand composite curve. For the grand composite curve, we need to combine both the curves and obtain one single curve. So for this, they use a shifted temperatures. So the shifted temperature approach is the hot temperatures, you need to take the temperature value minus delta T minimum divided by 2. So all the hot streams use the initial temperature or final temperature minus delta T minimum. If it is 10 degrees Celsius, so it is 10 divided by 2 is 5. If the temperature, supply temperature is 50 degrees Celsius, so it's 50 minus 5. And the target temperature also, if it is 80 degrees Celsius, it's 80 minus 5. For cold streams, we are going to add the delta T minimum divided by 2. So once you do this, now you shift your curves vertically up and down so that you have this adjusted temperatures in such a way that your pinch point is still remain 10 degrees Celsius difference. Then you join the curve as one single line and becomes your grand composite curve. So this is how you plot your grand composite curve. You need to shift your lines, hot and cold composite, up and down vertically, plus or minus 5 degrees. And then you obtain your hot utility requirement and cold utility requirements will remain the same. And grand composite curve is obtained from the point from here to here. You keep on measuring what is the delta T. The temperature remain the same, enthalpy is different. So take those points, plot them here. Okay, so this is all your graphical method. So shortly I will move to lecture